If you are someone who is contemplating starting a YouTube channel, then I want to address for you some of the biggest things that I wish I knew before I got started. All right, so the first thing that I really wish I knew, given myself more space for, here's what I would say. Be willing to start really freaking messy and have things not be perfect. One of the things that really helped me back when I first got started with my channel was how much time and energy I spent actually trying to resource out all of the things without first learning and understanding how YouTube works. And though this kind of sounds like an efficient way to do things, it was actually a little debilitating because I was on a stop and go pattern, trying different agencies, trying different consultants, trying different coaches, all of which never really taught me how to understand how YouTube works. And because of that, every time that things weren't really going quite the way I wanted or they were taking longer, I didn't actually understand the metrics or the analytics or how any of it worked. Therefore, I felt pretty darn helpless in the process. The second thing that I wish I actually knew or would have spent more time on at the early stages of my YouTube process is a simple thing called keyword research and competitive analysis. And if you've been here for a while, then you'll know I talk a lot about understanding data and analytics and how these components impact your business and your channel and your rankings. But this was really the thing that I neglected early on, and I wish that I didn't do that. So if you are somebody who's contemplating getting started, the best thing that you can do is do your research. And I don't mean researching the perfect camera. I don't mean researching the perfect setup. I mean researching the topics that you actually want to be creating content around and what people are searching for, depending on what your goals and your strategies are with your channel. Which leads me into thing number 3. The third thing that I wish I would have known when I was getting started is this whole idea that my channel needs to look a certain way and it needs to be all ready to go, and it needs to be perfect and pretty, and I need to have the intro and the outro and all of the things. And my God, was I wrong. I cannot tell you how many hours I spent fickling and fiddling with different Canva designs and different graphics and different templates rather than just starting the thing without any of the other fancy stuff. So if you're contemplating getting your channel started, just don't even worry about those pieces, because the majority of the time you can always go back and add them later, and you're probably gonna feel like you don't actually need a lot of that stuff to get started anyways. The fourth thing that I wish I would have known before I started my channel is understanding what the goals of the channel actually are. Now, this is gonna sound a little weird, but what I'm hinting at here is I didn't really know what I was trying to do with my YouTube channel when I first got started. I was just kind of wanting to step into it with this big idea that it would be a fun place to go, and I didn't really enjoy where I was at before, which was Instagram and Facebook and all of the other things. But here's the thing. There's 2 schools of thought here that really can confuse you. The first is this idea that YouTube is this thing that you just pour into and you don't ever really expect to see results. The second is on the other end of that spectrum, which is you'll all be able to just start posting and getting clients instantaneously, and it's going to be this magical place. And I like to live in the middle of that, because the reality is YouTube, without a real strategy, without understanding what your goal is behind it, whether it's to build brand awareness, whether it's to build more of an engagement and community, or whether it's actually to be your main source of lead generation, those are all going to require a slightly different approach and strategy to how you use your channel and how you use the platform. And if you don't actually know what your primary goals are, then it's going to make it a little more challenging to determine what kind of content you're going to create and how you're going to create it so that you can actually achieve said goals. So before you get started, understand, is the goal to actually monetize your channel and make revenue off of the actual watch time and watch hours? Is the goal to use it as an educational platform to connect with your audience and build trust and build more of your community and brand awareness? Is your goal to actually use this as a place to generate potential leads for your own services or your own business? Depending again on what your answer is to that question, it's going to dictate and determine how you're going to adjust the content that you do create and how that content is going to then feed into the other components of your business. The last thing that I'm going to hint at here is I really wish I would have known that the majority of what YouTube actually is not really this part right here. It's not creating the videos itself. This is maybe 20% of what goes into creating and managing and running my YouTube channel. And I really had a distorted idea around what that meant. because so much more of the time that I'm spending around YouTube is actually looking at the analytics, is looking at the data, is looking at my competitive analysis, understanding my channel versus other channels, understanding how my videos are performing, editing said videos, editing said thumbnails. It's so much more about the data and the back-end work that you're not seeing on these videos. And I think if more people started to understand that what you're creating in these videos is such a small part of what your channel is actually doing and how you're gonna grow it, then I think it would give you a much bigger sense of peace around the fact that you don't need to be constantly creating content every single day, every single week. You can if you want to, but if you're doing things strategically, if you have a plan, if you know what your goals are with your YouTube channel, then you can be a lot more intentional and strategic about it and not have to fall into that same repetitive cycle. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you did enjoy this video, you found it insightful, this is the moment where you go ahead and you hit the like button. You can even subscribe and stick around if you want. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. My name is Soph. I'm the founder of Sass and SEO. We run an SEO agency in San Diego County. And of course, we have more things that we do in regards to our membership and other ways to support users and viewers just like you. So if you want to learn more about our business, feel free to again hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications over there so that you can get updates whenever we drop new videos every single week on Wednesdays. And I look forward to seeing you all in future videos. Bye y'all.